Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Permafrost. Over the past few weeks, we've spent a lot of time exploring different mods like Hypothermia VIII, Elemental Craft, Ice and Fire, and a few others. But I don't think I've done a good enough job explaining why. The reason we've been going through all of these mods is because the end game of this mod pack relies a lot on exploration. This right here is the final chapter in the quest book, the one that has to do with the main progression of the pack. All of these weird eyes that you see here are from a mod called End Remastered, which makes it much more difficult to get to the end. In order to do so, you need to find 12 custom eyes in different vanilla structures and from vanilla mobs. Because exploration can be so punishing in this mod pack, we want to make sure that we have the best gear possible before we start doing this. That's what we've spent the last couple of episodes focusing on. Our progress through Botania has given us a full set of enchanted terrasteel armor, the key of the King's Law, as well as several baubles to help us move better in order to get around the permafrost. Ice and Fire, on the other hand, has given us a really cool sword, the Phantasmal Blade. Besides doing a lot of damage and attacking quickly, this one can also shoot out blades as a projectile. And finally, Elemental Craft has led us to the Pyrite Ingot. But all of that was just the preparation. Today, we put them to use. Like I mentioned previously, there are 12 custom eyes that we need to find, and several of them are related. These two, for example, are related to the pillagers in some way. Some of them come from regular pillagers, and others are found in the igloos of isologers. In order to make finding these eyes less miserable, this mod pack has an item called the Greater Eye of Ender. Unlike a regular vanilla Eye of Ender, this one allows you to set your search. By shift right clicking, you can tell the eye what vanilla structure you're looking for, and it will point you to the nearest one. As you can imagine, this is insanely helpful. So now that we have good weapons, good armor, good tools, and a backpack full of miscellaneous items to help us in our journey, I think it's time that we get to it. Let's find some eyes. Our first goal is to find a woodlands mansion, where we can hopefully find enough pillagers to get the corrupted eye. I know that we're here looking for a woodlands mansion, but this guy seems to have other ideas. These guys really need to learn how to mind their own business. An underwater igloo. Supposedly one of the eyes that we want to find is down here. You guys have no idea how many of these sirens I have to deal with. But I found a pretty good way to deal with them. Now that's what we're looking for. Good thing it only took us 10,000 blocks to get here. Seriously, look at the map. We're over here, and our base is way back here. Look at how far we traveled. But all of my grievances about travel, those are behind us now. What matters right now is looting the hell out of this place. And look at that. 1 minute into looting, and we've already found the magical eye. We're back over at our little keep, and I've returned with the 2 magical eyes that you just saw me find. We've got this one, the magical eye, which comes from the evokers, as you can see in the tooltip. And then we've got this cold eye here, which has the ominous text saying that it's the eye of the storm. What this means, I don't know, but I'm sure we'll find out. Our current goal, though, is still this corrupted eye over here, this dark gray one. I was wrong in saying that it comes from killing pillagers. It actually gets found in pillager outposts. Or so I think. I say I think because none of the End Remastered eyes show up in JEI, so I'm not really sure where they spawn, and all I have to go with are the cryptic hints in the quest book. But complaining about where these eyes get found is not going to do us any good. We're just going to take our Greater Eye of Ender, set it for Pillager Outpost, and hope for the best. I'm not quite sure what this structure is, but it's got the pillager banners and looks a little bit like the vanilla pillager outposts, so I say we go take a look. That was a lot of pillagers, but with our cool gear, not even close to a problem. And most importantly, we found our corrupted eye. Matter of fact, we found 2 of them. With the corrupted eye out of the way, we've completed this section of the quest book, and I think we're now ready to move on to a different one. In fact, I say we get out of this cold snow and head somewhere a lot warmer. I don't know exactly what this eye is called, but given that it's Nether related and the hint is within the fortress, I think we know what we're looking for. In order to find Nether fortresses, we crafted one of our greater eyes of Ender into the Nether version, which is just made with a single piece of quartz. Pretty easy. All that's left to do now is follow this into a fortress. As luck would have it, we were actually pretty close to another fortress. All that's left to do now is to hope the chests here have what we're looking for. Lucky number 3, I suppose. This Nether eye was the only one that we needed from that dimension, so the rest should now be in the overworld. In fact, the only 2 eyes that we have left seem to be this one, whose hint is hidden away, and this other one, whose hint is long before the storm. To be perfectly honest with you, I have no clue what either of these are. But we haven't visited anything like buried treasure, shipwrecks, or ocean monuments before, so I'm thinking that at least one of those will be somewhere to do with the ocean. I've set our Greater Eye of Ender to search for buried treasure, and we'll see if our hunch is correct. Maybe we'll see about making some new ones before we set out. The eye seems to be pointing us towards this cute little tropical island, as it were, covered in snow, of course. So let's see if we can't find what we're looking for here. And as usual, the eye proves correct. And it seems that my hunch does too. Black eye. At this point, there's only one eye left to find, which I'm willing to bet has to do with shipwrecks or ocean monuments. Well, we found the shipwreck, but we seem to have some company too. And let me tell you, they do not seem happy that we're here. Now that we're rid of them though, we can head down and see if we find our final eye. Unfortunately for us, no eyes to be found at the shipwreck, so we're going to try out an ocean monument next. And look at what we have here. Now, I'm not sure why, but the Elder Guardians seem to have taken a really long time to give me mining fatigue, which meant that I was able to cut a hole in the top of the monument, which we're going to be able to use as a shortcut. And this shortcut seems to have made our life really easy. The last eye was apparently a drop from the Elder Guardians. This means that we now have all of the eyes unlocked, and we can proceed into this weird-looking thing. The quest for this last eye, which is written in very reassuring all caps, seems to be asking us to surround an Eye of Ender with 8 sugarcane, which grants us the Witch Eye. For those of you proficient in the advanced skill known as counting, you might realize that we only have 11 of these eyes in this chest. And in fact, I'll be the first to admit that I have no clue how to acquire the 12th. But what I do have a clue about is how we can use these eyes. If I try and throw an Eye of Ender, even though I'm right-clicking, nothing happens. But if I try and throw one of these custom ones, as you can see, they do work. And I've tried it with almost all of them, and they all seem to point in the same direction. What lies in that direction, I'm not sure, but I think that's a pretty strong sign that we should go check it out. I've gone ahead and put all of our eyes in an ender chest for safekeeping, and have made an ender backpack so that we can access them remotely. After all the trouble to find these guys, I think a little precaution is a good idea. All that's left now is to follow the eyes. When I started, I wasn't quite sure what we were looking for, but I am now. Seriously, look at this structure. It's huge. But beyond being enormous, I can sense that this castle here is not exactly a welcoming one. In fact, if you look closely, you'll be able to spot quite a few villagers around this area. So it looks like we're going to be fighting our way in. I don't think these poor guys are ready for what's about to hit them. It also has some really interesting rooms, like this one here, which seems to be a throne room. Sadly, it doesn't look as if there's a king to fight. I'd also quickly thought I'd update you guys and show you that this has completed the next quest and unlocked this one, ominously named The Truth. This quest is completed by a single book, and it gives us a custom book and quill as a reward. Now, I'm not going to read all 6 pages to you, but I will give you the Spark Notes version. Someone opened a portal using the eyes, and this is what released the Permafrost, the eternal storm, into the world. Now, their journal warns us to not open the portal. The eye deceives us, and if we go in, all we will meet is our end. Unfortunately for this guy, I'm built different. And so are these silverfish. Holy hell! Normally, next to the end portal is a silverfish spawner. It seems instead that the RNG gods decided to give us one of the custom mobs that spawns silverfish. Luckily for us, I knew a way to get rid of these guys. Now, that end portal is cool and all, but that doesn't change the fact that we only have 11 of the 12 eyes. And the hints for the next one seems to have been given to us by the quest book. It mentions something about the basalt deltas having end crystal fragments in them, and that theoretically, we'll be able to make these into the final piece, the 12th eye. Over here in the Nether, I found a basalt delta biome, but whoever this guy is, I don't think he's gonna make our life very easy. Never mind, he's a pushover, onto the stuff that actually matters. And the stuff that actually matters is this pink ore right here. You guys have no idea how painful this was to find. In fact, we're not even in a basalt delta anymore. I had to look for a bastion in order to find this in its walls. That was better odds than mining for this in a basalt delta. All that's left now is to hope that this one gives us at least 2 more end crystal fragments. Lady Luck says yes. That's all we need. I'm gonna kill a few piglin for fun though. And grab a few more of this ore, just in case. With the end crystal fragments safely retrieved, we can now combine them with an Eye of Ender and get the 12th one. Before we go and put the 12th eye to use though, I'm gonna go ahead and make one final item from Botania, the crystal bow. I'm also gonna throw power 4 and punch on it, as well as, of course, flame. I love the Key of the King's Law a lot, but given that we're probably going to the end to fight the dragon, I suspect that this thing is gonna prove way too difficult to aim. And this bow, meanwhile, draws super quickly and fires even with no arrows in our inventory. With blocks, potions, a new bow, and an ender backpack with all of our useful stuff in it, as well as 12 unique eyes, I think we're ready to find out what's been causing this winter wonderland. Let's go get summer back. Well, the end has certainly received a very, very cold visual update. I'm not sure how well we'll fare here. Now, as you may or may not be able to tell from the constant damage I am taking, the cold here is pretty brutal, and the questbook only gives us this one potion of cold resistance, which I think I'm just going to take now. I'm also going to switch to the Key of the King's Law to try and get rid of these end crystals, provided that the dragon or these damn elementals don't freeze me first. This should be the last crystal here. I'm gonna leave that in. Now, to take on this guy. Unfortunately for us, our cold resistance is about to run out, so we really need to hurry this along. Oh, we're so close. Wow. This Hypothermia VIII is absolutely brutal. I need this portal open like yesterday. What are these ice elementals? Wow, they just do not stop, huh? I'm getting out of here. That was certainly a fight. I was not expecting the cold to be quite that brutal. You know, obviously I expected it to play a part, but I did not realize that it would be constant cold no matter what enchantments you have. So that was really rough, but it definitely made the fight interesting because I was on a little bit of a time limit. As you can see, I was almost out of food and only had a couple uses of this regeneration potion left. Things definitely could have gotten ugly. Luckily for us, things didn't get worse. And looking at our quest book, we've just defeated the Permafrost, the heart of the storm. I know that there's technically some other quests around here that we haven't yet gotten to, but I think that given that this is an adventure-focused mod pack, defeating the final boss is a good place to leave it. I did actually have quite a bit of fun with this pack, even though I have some complaints. All things considered, this is a pretty short pack, and only took me around 100 hours to beat it. Compared to some longer mod packs, that's absolutely nothing, and I even took my time to do some building and a lot of unnecessary side quests, so if you wanted to really speedrun this, you could get this done in under 50 hours. With all of that said though, I don't think the pack was particularly difficult, and a few of its mechanics ventured more into being annoying rather than engaging and challenging. But despite all of that, I still enjoyed this a lot, and I hope you guys did too. It's the first series, it's rough, but I definitely have noticed my video quality improving a lot, so hopefully the next one will be a lot better. That's all from me. Thank you for watching. Stay cool.